welcome to WRPB and WRPB Studios. You know, it's interesting how times change and how people come up with new ideas and new things to do. And with me is Josh Brinzo from Stormhouse Brewing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this brewing thing, they've been brewing beers and stuff forever, but now it's become mainstream. Why'd you get into it?
Well, years ago, I wanted to start a distillery.
Okay.
And I always thought that'd be interesting. And we were going to put food with it. My brother started to brew beer, and turns out he was really darn good at it. And we figured it's probably time for him to make the next step in his life, and he wanted to do more with it. So a brewery seemed to make sense, and moved down to Florida, and this was a great spot to do it. So it's good.
Is he younger or older than you?
He's younger than me, so we're about 18 months apart.
Okay,
yeah,
so you're
we're
pretty
close. Yeah.
Okay, so, not that you're an alcoholic, but were you a beer drinker prior?
I was. When I came up with the idea for a distillery, I actually was under 21, and I didn't know anything about alcohol. I just liked the concept of everything about it.
Right.
And then when I went to college, I fell in love with craft beer in Texas, and everything kind of started going from there, drinking any type of beer you can find.
Okay, so do you drink any kind of beer because you like to see the difference in tastes of them?
Yeah, I mean, I personally, my favorite beer is a Hefeweizen.
Which is what?
It's a German wheat beer.
Okay.
It's really good. You get like banana flavor in it and
do you?
everything. But I'll drink anything. I really love IPAs like everyone else in South Florida, and there's all sorts of really good new beers that people do, like the sours and getting these fruited beers, but it's a wide market.
So, let me see if I can get this straight. So you're brewing beer and you're making your own recipes.
Yes.
Okay, how did you come up with all these recipes then?
My brother was trained in Chicago and Germany, trained in Munich.
Okay.
And so they kind of teach you, everything. But when you're a home brewer as well, you're experimenting with things on your own. And when we were getting ready to open, he just started coming up with recipes, and he's really scientific, and everything's a science and an art for him.
Okay.
And today we're actually releasing a Hefeweizen, which is really good.
Because it's your favorite.
Yeah, and it's our first one that we've done, and it's really cool to see him come up with his own recipe and really make something like that.
You know, my future son-in-law is into wines. So, not that it's the same concept, but it's a similar type of concept.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay? And it's interesting because he's a patent attorney in the agricultural industry. So he already knows a lot of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of interesting, some of the things that he talks about. So it's got to be kind of interesting in your house when you guys are talking about, hey, you know what? What happens if we do this and this and this? Do you guys like bat heads about what needs to be done?
I don't know if we've ever butt heads about coming up with a beer. We go out all the time, though, and try new beers. I go to a local bar right by my house, and they rotate craft beers from different breweries, and I never order the same beer twice.
Okay.
That's like my mission, is to never order the same beer twice. And it's all about seeing what's out there and what people are doing and how they're doing it. And some are crazy. People make like a sweet potato beer and
Wow.
all these funky beers. But it's really cool to try something new. And so my brother and I we have similar interests. I wouldn't say they're like, exact. But to basically work together and be like, hey, we need a beer like this, what do you think you can do to get that? And then he'll say, well, I think we need this. And then we decide what the next beer is going to be brewed.
I would kill my brother if I worked with him. My wife is a chocolatier, and it's very similar. We experiment with different flavors, and some are successful,
Yeah.
and some are like, yeah, that's not happening.
Yeah.
And I think, and I don't mean to take away from the scientific aspect, because I think once you have the basis of how to brew beer, then it's a little piece of science after you have that basic, and much more of creative, artistic. It's an art to brew beer. Okay? So, but I could be wrong. But I think that, once you have step A, B, C, D to brew beer
Yeah.
in general, then the little other pieces after, like I want to do a sweet potato beer or a bacon beer or whatever,
Yeah.
okay, is just one small piece of the science part, and then it becomes an art to put it together.
It definitely does. I mean, when you start scaling your beers, one of the biggest things is consistency. And so my brother has his iPad where it has everything on it that he can see the whole brew house. And so he'll follow that all day long when he's doing a brew day. And it's all about making sure that every level is where it should be, and we're not like having a crazy fluctuation. Because at the end of the day, we want someone to come in who had our beer before and go, man, that tastes just like I had it last time.
Right.
Because if you brew something that tastes different, it can be a big bummer to get there and it's not
It'd
what
be very
you thought.
negative, and people won't come back. So you decided between you guys what I would consider as a smart move on part, which would be coming in to drink beer, they're going to want to eat some food.
Yes.
Okay, so what kind of foods do you sell?
Well, we have a bit of everything. At the end of the day, the premise was every food that we had to go good with beer. And if it didn't, then it didn't make sense. And we are kind of in a lucky spot where no brewery around us has a food menu, especially like this. There are a couple with really small bites, but we have a full restaurant. I mean, you can go for burgers, you can go for steak, there's wings
goes
pierogies,
with beer.
like we've offered everything. We have salads. I mean, you name it, we have it, and we're always running new specials, and it's really fun to see our chef, who's phenomenal, every day whipping up like a new special or saying, hey, try this, or what do you think about this?
Where are you located?
We're in North Palm Beach on US 1, right by PGA Boulevard.
Which is a pretty good market.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's, for lack of a better word, that's kind of like an established market.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Because that area is surrounded by, I guess, Palm Beach Gardens, Jupiter, all where people go, have a good time. You know, up here on the Treasure Coast, it's a little bit different. But, you know, I have to say that I really respect the fact that someone goes into an industry and sticks it out. Because being an entrepreneur is like this.
Yes.
Okay? And the food industry is brutal. It's a brutal industry. I was in the bar business many, many, many years ago. That's an okay industry. But food and food costs, if you guys don't know it, the profit margin on food is like this.
Yeah.
Okay? Does it worry you that you have such a big menu?
I mean, yes and no. When we were originally going to open, there was a different chef candidate that we were talking to. Things didn't work out. And so we were kind of at a loss of who we were going to go with. And out of nowhere, we found our current chef. And he was nailing down food costs right away. Talk about how he got this plate to this price and everything. And I mean, we talk every week about our food costs. And, you know, it made me feel a lot better. I don't have a restaurant background. I've had beer. I've never brewed it. I trust my brother to brew it well.
Right.
Personally, I'm an accountant, and my father's been doing that for years too, and we felt good about everything, but the kitchen was the scary part.
And it is very scary.
It's a brutal industry, like you said. It's very hard, and especially when you can have rising food costs or whatever, and maybe you have to take a food menu and completely restructure it. But it's rewarding when it does go right.
You opened up another door, and you spoke about your father's an accountant?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So, did you get family support when you decided to do this crazy thing and become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so actually, our team, we have a partnership of 7 people, but majority of it is family, and then 2 are close friends. And it basically started between my dad, brother, and I had been pestering my dad. And I was like, Dad, you got to hear me out on this. You know, this would be a great idea. No, I don't know. I don't know if it's time. And then my brother starts brewing beer, and he's like, okay, you might be right. So that's when I moved here in 2018, and we kind of hit the ground.
From where, Texas?
No, I was actually in Connecticut for work, and I didn't like it there, so it's nice to move here. And I got down here and started looking for buildings and trying to figure it out. We drew up a business plan and kind of went from there.
Did you do a build-out of the whole property?
Yeah, we leased out a unit that was basically completely gutted and rolled from there, and it became a bigger project than we wanted. Size scaled up.
That is always the case. Okay, we talk about it all the time. Always use a professional. In other words, when my wife says, hey, can you go and fix that? It's a simple job. I learned that word. Makes it a 3-day job, and then we have to call someone in to fix the mess that I made.
Yeah.
Okay, so I kind of get that. And I know it's a project. Did you guys ever think about expanding?
Right now, probably not. I mean, we have kind of our business plan of how we want this to go.
Right.
And the end goal for us is distribution outside of the state of Florida. So we're just about to start our distribution locally in like the Palm Beach County area. And from there, our plan is to just scale up. And if it's a second location for dining, then maybe. But the end goal is actual distribution.
Interesting. And okay, so you're producing a alcoholic product.
Yes.
So I guess that you have laws and rules that you have to go by.
Yes, that's correct.
Is it brutal?
Yeah, it is. Before we opened, it was difficult getting the licenses to brew and to do. I mean, the sale license was a lot easier, but
Right.
the actual, like, the manufacturing license, that was difficult. And I went back and forth with the state on it. And then finally, they're like, you know what? Everything checks off. You're good. And it was like the last minute, too. And so
And you have the health department to think about?
everyone came in. Health department was the easiest to work
Really?
with. Yeah, surprisingly. But they were good. And so
But you
was
had
the
a lot
city.
of new stuff.
Yeah,
clean,
everything was
neat.
brand new.
Right. So, they won't pick on, except the way it might be connected, they won't pick on a lot
Yeah,
of stuff.
and obviously when you're going through a contractor who's done it before, you feel a little better. But, sometimes there could have been, oh, well, you moved this, a couple inches. It's got to be where it's at.
I give you credit. I give anybody who wants to be an entrepreneur, and I don't care what industry, I give you credit. You picked a tougher than normal industry.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know the brewing industry, but I do know the food industry, and that's a brutal industry. But if it's you doing the brewing and you doing the food and everybody else that I know brews and that's it, and you can pick up some pretzels while you're there, and but that's basically it, maybe chicken wings. But if you have a full menu, that makes you stand head and shoulders above everybody else.
Yeah, and that was the end goal for this project. I mean, I wanted this place to stand out in basically every aspect. And when you come up to the building, it's this huge curved front, all the windows slide open, it's gorgeous. And then you walk in, you see the brew house, and oh, we have food. And so now you didn't just walk into a normal brewery. And on top of that, we have, TVs to watch sports, and it's kid friendly, and the whole family can come out. At the end of the day, I wanted everyone who walked in that door to feel like they were welcome there, and not just, you walked into an industrial brewery and it was cold and it was just a bunch of guys hanging out, but it was welcome to anyone. And that's really what I want. I just want people to have a good time and enjoy it.
When you open a business, and we're kind of running out of time, here we sell the sizzle. Okay, you walked in the door here, you're sitting in this green room, or this room with a big green screen and all this equipment. It was like, we wanted people when they came in here to know they want to work with us and that we're not here and going to close up overnight.
Yeah.
Okay? And it's hard to kind of always please everybody, of course.
Mm-hmm.
You just want to please most of the people.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's where you're doing good. All right. How do people find you? You have a website?
Yeah, so it's stormhousebrewing.com, and then you can also reach us via phone, which is on our website. It's 561-323-4172.
Okay. Guys, if you're looking for a night out, and I'm not a beer drinker, but I'm a foodie. So when I go out and the guys are with me, they're going to drink beer. I'm the designated driver. Yes, you're right. It's good because they want to go to a bar, and I don't want to go to a bar because just don't want to drink all the time. I don't want to drink at all, but I want to eat, obviously. So for me, a place like yours really opens the door for a new place to go and hang out, enjoy my food. They can drink their beers and have food. Mm-hmm. It's just kind of just a great way to go. Everybody check them out, Stormhouse Brewing and stormhousebrewing.com. With that, Josh, I want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Everybody will be right back.